and I'm one of the founders of Housecall. Tonight, I'm going to give you guys a rough overview of how my team got started with JavaScript. A little bit of background. What Housecall does is we basically give you a tool to let homeowners push a button on their phone and get someone to come to their house and fix something. So like get a plumber or a maid or a carpet cleaner, and that's with this app right here. We also provide tools to the businesses to modernize their operations. So that's this app right here. And they can basically do their scheduling, their dispatching, their invoicing, etc. So initially, both these products were mobile only. And eventually, as we started serving larger and larger companies, we realized there's another role that we didn't serve, which is the dispatcher that sits in the office that's basically managing multiple employees running around between customers' houses. So we had a need for building basically a web dashboard. Not being great front-end web developers, we didn't really know which JavaScript framework to pick, so we ended up just deferring the decision until we had some more expertise. But since we're not using a framework, we still have to figure out how to keep our code clean and make sure we're not just mixing JavaScript and HTML all over the place, and just keep the code maintainable. So I'm going to walk through a simple scenario that we built, and we basically replicated this with all our other use cases. Basically, in this scenario, the dispatcher is in here, and the dispatcher is somebody just started cleaning someone else's house, and the dispatcher is marking the job as started. So pop up a modal, take the user's input, send it to the server. That's it. So first, anybody ever heard of the model view controller design pattern? Yeah? Okay, good. So we'll do a little rough overview for any of you who haven't heard of it. The MVC pattern is basically consists of the model, the view, and the controller. Your view is what the user sees, so it's the buttons, the labels, the input fields, and your model is the objects and the data that you're working with. In our case, our model is just going to be our Rails server on the back end. And then the controller manages the interactions between the two. So in the scenario we're looking at, it's start job, you have a start job view, start job model, and a start job controller. And we're just going to jump right into the code. The goal of using the MVC pattern is to basically separate your view code from your logic and from your model code. And in our case, it's separate your view code from the code that actually does work and sends data to the server and back. So let's go over to here. So, oh man, this did not, oh, here we go. All right. So our view over here, it's got a bunch of stuff, but what we care about is there's a listener on the start button, and when the start button gets clicked, it tells the controller, hey, I got clicked. Controller over here has, hey, start button got clicked. So go get this data from the view, so whatever was in the form, and send it to the model to submit to the server. The model, all it does is it takes the payload we got from the view, posts it to this URL. That's pretty basic, but let's say, for example, the server returns an error. So you can see we passed in a failure block. So on error, the failure block gets called, and then we go back here. You can see that when we called the model, the controller said, hey, here's the failure block. If there's any errors, tell the view to show this error. And the view over here just shows the error, so it's got to show error. That's it. I mean, this is a pretty simple scenario for the model view controller pattern. But with this, we were still able to get a bunch of functionality in place without really knowing anything about JavaScript, just implementing good use of design patterns. That's actually it. Any questions? Yeah.
I'm curious about your models.
Yeah.
Are you attributing models to business domains? Are you attributing models to a view? Is there a model per view? Is there
Yeah. So basically, what we have is it's not a single page application, so there's not a whole lot of state on the browser. You can see that here when we post it to the server, we refresh the page afterwards. So the model, all it really is hey, this is the code that's it's doing the network calls to the server. So it sends data to the server, gets data back. The mobile applications are all native.